According to Liquipedia, an unofficial world champion is Nolly right now. We talk about why the unofficial world champion should not be K-Corp in a previous video. You can go back and watch that if you want. But Nolly shows up with K-Corp and does wonders. Obviously playing with Vatira and Rise because Addo could not play in the flip and spin LAN. Goes to a LAN, comes out on top over the world champions Vitality. Not only that, it was a 4-0 over BDS and then a 4-1 over Vitality. So absolute domination. And it just shows that Nolly has still got it. But the thing is with North America, we don't know where Nolly's going and where he will go. And I think that's a big question mark because you would think with a player of his caliber, he would probably be picked up by now. Is this a Nolly problem where he's trying to find, that perfect team to support him? Or is this a problem with NA not really realizing the talent of Nolly? It's probably a mixture of both. And obviously there's a lot of behind the scenes things going on, very likely. So we're not completely sure exactly how this works out. But Nolly deserves to be on a top team. So let's talk about where he could possibly land, or maybe a dream team I'll put up together of a bunch of free agents in NA. And yeah, we'll talk about that. So we talked about this a long time ago when the free agent markets were happening, where Nolly was rumored to be off Gen G. I put him in my tier 1 where he should make multiple majors and go to a world champion. And I still back that up. Obviously, after the K-Corp performance, it's looking even more likely. And I think it's one of those support players that might not get as much of the pizzazz or the highlight reel plays that you see out of some of these other players, but he still has his moments. We've seen it at the fall major, Nolly making some incredible passing plays late in the finals to secure that as well. But he doesn't get that moment, right? Normally. It's normally all about his teammates, apparently Jack and Chronic. But I feel like Nolly can slot in with two very talented players very, very well. Now, if you clone Nolly 3 times and formed a team, I think power ranking wise, he would be a lot lower than, say, a team of 3 apparently Jacks or 3 Vatiras or 3 Zens or whatever. But you pair Nolly with 2 Vatiras, that's one of the best teams in the world, if not the best team in the world. Might even be better than 3 Vatiras at that point, because sometimes you just need a player that's a little bit more off the ball, right? That is going to do the things behind the scenes where you're not on the ball or just making those fine touches when he has moments, and you let your spotlight players shine. That's what Nolly can bring to the table for many, many teams. So as we look at NA, it looks like there was a lot of praise going around for Nolly on Twitter after the tournament, like these NA teams have to pick him up and all that stuff. So it seems like NA teams are not looking at Nolly. That could be completely wrong. Maybe those players don't really know what's going on, but still, either way, which teams would Nolly make better? I think we got to start up at the top with Gen G and G2. I could see why they would not go with a Nolly. Perfectly fine. They have 3 amazing players on both those squads. So I think those 2 teams, Nolly probably does not make better. After that, he probably makes literally every other team better. Let's look at Space Station Gaming. They have Hoxer and LJ. I think Nolly is a perfect player to go to that team. There's many reasons why, right? There's 2 young players. Or not 2 young players, but 2 less experienced players, I guess you would say, in terms of the international LAN stage, that Nolly can come in and kind of help out there. Also, just 2 very, very good players. Nolly always plays well around 2 other very talented players. And the other options Space Station is looking at right now, I think, are worse than Nolly. They got Justin and Arsenal. Now, with Justin, his stock is rising. A lot of people think he is looking fantastic throughout this offseason. But there's still a lot of question marks around that, right? He was obviously just on Energy, who for the past year and a half did not do anything. So do you take an unproven player like that? Obviously, he's proven before that, but it feels like he was on the downtrend. Again, this offseason, I could be completely wrong, but I think I would pick Nolly over Justin. And Arsenal could go back to Space Station. There's rumors that could happen as well, where they might keep him. I think Nolly is a better fit than both of those guys. I could see an argument for Justin, obviously, but I think Nolly with a Hoxer and LJ could easily be third best team in NA. Let's move on to complexity. They drop AJG, Raze Bull, and CRR, and then they wind up picking up Dorito, or it looks like they're going to wind up picking up Dorito. And I think a lot of people are kind of scratching their heads like, did they just downgrade or at least do a side grade and not really improve? And language barrier side, Nolly fits way better than that, right? Nolly with CRR and Raze Bull, I think, would be a fantastic team. Obviously, there is a language barrier there, and they would have to work on English comms. But I think that team would be absolutely nuts. But there is always that caveat, right? Like, if there was no problem with language, I think complexity, then that team would push for a top 2 spot. I think they would have a very, very good chance because complexity was already pushing for best in the world with AJG. They had a lot of very close matches. If you bring a Nolly in, I say that's an upgrade, and I think complexity could fight for the very best in the world. Obviously, language barrier, though, might be a little bit of a problem. Shopify Rebellion. 2Piece and Parth, they've gone through many, many tryouts with many, many players. So we don't really know exactly what's going to happen there. They are the draw kings. They usually win like every draw. 2 very talented players, but with less experience, very similar to Space Station, but even less experience, right? Nolly, again, could fit perfectly in there. I wonder if that could be a choice of Nolly, though, to not go there in case he's like, I'm trying to look for a team that is more on the cusp of being one of those major teams. I think that team would be a major team with Nolly, though. They would probably be top 5. But I could see like maybe Nolly being hesitant to go to a team like that because they're still a little bit more unproven. Energy, Garrett G and Frosty, we're wondering exactly what's going to go on there. Nolly would probably fit there, but I think Energy, that would be more of a downgrade than Parth and 2Piece, so I could see why Nolly would not want to try and venture that. Then you got M80. AJ and Joris, when that was announced, everyone's like, all right, this roster's cooking. And then they pick up Nas or Nas. I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce it. European bubble player, basically. That is unproven. Now, there's obviously Nick is the coach there. He's trying to build his team how he wants to, so he sees potential there. But what's better than potential is kinetic energy. Nolly's got it, all right? Nolly's been there before. Nas has it. I think Nolly probably would have been an even better fit, at least on day 1. We'll see if I am proven wrong with M80. But AJ Jorius and Nolly would be a team to be reckoned with. So another roster, I think, that kind of went by Nolly. Like, that roster's basically locked. So we got M80 and Complexity locked. A Space Station right now, it looks like they're not even looking at Nolly, but it's hard to tell based on the rumor mill. So, like, it seems like Nolly's being passed up. You got Luminosity, Riddles and Magic Bear, they just signed there. I think that's probably too much of a downgrade for Nolly as well. I think I would rate Shopify over Luminosity with Riddles and Magic Bear. I think Shopify would have a better chance at major spots. Like, if Nolly were to choose between those two teams, I would go with Parth and 2Piece personally. I'll probably get roasted in the comments for that one, but I think that's the better potential team to make a move. But a lot of different rosters that Nolly could easily fit into and be a contender for a major team, if not a contender for one of the best in the world. But right now, Nolly is still a free agent. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below of where Nolly's going to wind up. And I'll leave you on this. My dream team with all the free agents, not necessarily the rosters that are available right now, but I'm just going to throw one out there. All right. And I think this roster could do damage. We're going to go Justin. Going to go J-Naps. And we're going to go Nolly. I think that roster could do some work. I think it would be a very likable team, obviously, as well. Great marketing material. Very easy for an org to pick up a squad like that. But I'm just saying, that roster could do damage. Let me know why I'm wrong. But that'll do it for this video. We'll see where Nolly ends up, one of the premier free agents in North America, at least according to Europeans. But maybe NA is looking past him. But we'll see how it all pans out. Hopefully Nolly will find his home soon. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.